Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Renegade Immortal episode number 231 based on novel. So let's start. The moment the blue-robed man died, the gate of the altar closed. Although Wang Lin's expression was calm, his heart was shaken as he looked at the five-colored butterfly flapping next to him. After pondering for a moment, Wang Lin lifted his right hand to form a seal and carefully pressed it toward the butterfly. The butterfly's wings paused and then turned into specks of five-colored light that slowly dispersed. After a moment, it turned back into the god-slaying war chariot. Wang Lin's heart relaxed and sweat came out from his forehead. The feeling of cold sweat was very rare for him. However, the scene of a peak corporeal young cultivator's body and origin soul completely collapsing from just a flap of the butterfly's wing shocked him greatly. With this god-slaying war chariot and the Wither Dao pair, I can battle Nirvana Scryer cultivators. Wang Lin's eyes shined brightly as he looked around. The chosen immortal clan members returned to normal after the middle-aged man died. Their eyes were filled with sorrow and they silently pondered on the ground. In the distance, Tarshan returned with injuries. He was holding a big pot in his hand. He had managed to capture the fog beast that went after the children. However, he was very injured, so after he came back, he fell into a coma. Time flashed by and 10 days passed. For these 10 days, Wang Lin lived with the chosen immortal clan. The ancestor had prepared a quiet place for him to stay. During these 10 days, Wang Lin didn't waste time. After a detailed conversation with the old man, Wang Lin felt that his previous guess was 80% accurate. However, this matter was not related to him. Wang Lin's focus was on how to leave this place. Wang Lin had already been to the end of the sky. It was just as Tarshan had said, the end of the sky was a boundless wall of flesh. However, blue light penetrated the wall of flesh, making it look like a real world. Aside from the sky, Wang Lin had searched the entire continent, but he still hadn't found an exit. At this point, Wang Lin was convinced that the formation inside the mysterious yin furnace at the altar was the way out. Ignoring the spirit of the mysterious yin furnace, there was also that blue-robed man. All of this makes this entire place very strange. That blue-robed man claimed he was a celestial and the power he used was similar to celestial spiritual energy, but it also contained the aura of origin energy. It was very similar to Celestial Lord Qing Shui back in the Thunder Celestial realm. Adding on the reaction of the chosen immortal clan members, it is very likely that the blue-robed man was a real celestial. As Wang Lin pondered, he walked out from his room and disappeared. He reappeared at a plain on the eastern side of the continent. Just as he appeared, there was a cheerful cry. The mosquito beast flew in the sky, and after circling a few times, it flew toward Wang Lin. The thunder toad's body that was like a small mountain was lying in the grass in the distance. It opened its eyes to look at Wang Lin before closing them once more. There was not even a shadow of Shuligua. He had already gone to who knows where to look for fun. When the mosquito closed in, Wang Lin revealed a smile and patted the mosquito's head. The mosquito revealed a comfortable expression as it flew into the air once more. Wang Lin stepped forward in the grass, and a moment later he arrived at an open area about 1,000 feet wide. The grass here had been cleaned out and replaced with gulches. These gulches intersected and formed a complex image, as if it was a formation. Wang Lin didn't even look at the gulches on the ground before stepping inside. He sat down at the center of the formation. Ever since Wang Lin had released the Thunder Toad and Mosquito Beast, he hadn't taken them back and let them move around freely. As for Shuligua, Wang Lin was too lazy to care. This was a place Wang Lin had found to cultivate. After removing the grass, he placed a restriction formation here. With the Mosquito Beast and Thunder Toad guarding, there was a certain degree of safety. As he sat there, Wang Lin's hand formed a seal and pressed down on the formation. There was a flash of light and then everything disappeared and was replaced with a field of grass. No matter how far or close you were, you wouldn't be able to see that this place was fake. Even if you stepped inside, everything would appear normal. After activating the formation, his eyes lit up. During his trip to the Thunder Celestial Realm, he had managed to obtain a lot among all the dangers he had faced. However, he hadn't had time to refine any of them since he left. Originally, he planned to go to planet Qingling after leaving the Thunder Celestial Realm to refine the treasures, but he didn't expect to be sent here. Right now I must refine the treasures I obtained in the Thunder Celestial Realm to strengthen myself. That way, the road to leaving here will be smoother. While Wang Lin pondered, he touched his bag of holding and a suit of leather armor appeared. The skin used to make this armor was very rough and there were some runes on it. While holding the leather armor, Wang Lin's left hand gently touched it. Ancient god leather armor. Wang Lin silently stared at it for a moment before he threw it into the air. Then he spat out a mouthful of essence origin energy. A white flame suddenly appeared and surrounded the armor. The leather armor showed no change inside the flame. However, not only did Wang Lin not stop, he spat out more essence origin energy. The previous owner was very likely Master Carefree. Although he was dead, his cultivation was very strong. Even now, there was still a trace of broken yet independent divine sense on the armor. If another 10,000 years had passed, I fear the broken divine sense on the leather armor would have awakened by itself. It would produce its own consciousness and become the new spirit of the ancient god leather armor. At Wang Lin's cultivation he was able to see through the core of some matters. Although not all treasure spirits were formed like this was how most were formed. The essence origin energy surrounded the ancient god leather armor and time slowly passed. This was a very slow process. After all, the previous owner was extremely powerful and far stronger than the current Wang Lin. Although the divine sense was broken, it couldn't be underestimated. Most importantly, it had evolved over the countless years and was starting to develop into a treasure spirit. Although the treasure spirit is precious, if it's not removed, the ancient god leather armor will never belong to me and will instead belong to the treasure spirit. It will end up like Rain Celestial Swords, whose true master is only the spirit inside. Moreover, this is only a fragment of a celestial's divine sense, and it conflicts with the ancient gods. Although they have begun to fuse after countless years, it still isn't enough. Wang Lin's eyes became cold. Then his eyes lit up. He was determined to erase the treasure spirit that hadn't gained consciousness yet. Several days flashed by. On this day, a blue mist came out of the ancient god leather armor that was being refined by Wang Lin. The blue mist moved as if it was under extreme pain, but it was forced out of the leather armor by Wang Lin's essence origin energy. There were strands connecting the blue mist and the ancient god leather armor. At this moment, Wang Lin opened his eyes and they turned cold. He raised his hand and mercilessly chopped down. Heavenly chops flew out. What was chopped was the law. What was chopped were the last connections between the treasure spirit and the ancient god leather armor. The strands broke with a crackle and the blue mist flew into the sky. Wang Lin took out the 1 billion soul flag. It turned into black mist and devoured the blue mist. The ancient god leather armor floated before Wang Lin. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and his divine sense spread out and entered the leather armor, leaving behind his own imprint. This imprint was very strong and the leather armor immediately gave off an ancient aura. This aura was very rich, and it immediately surrounded the area. A vortex immediately formed around Wang Lin. Wang Lin was at the center of the vortex, and he didn't move at all. The moment he left his imprint on the leather armor, a familiar aura surrounded him. This familiar aura came from the leather armor. It was very familiar and kind, like a child that had been wandering for many years that suddenly met his relatives. This was the feeling Wang Lin felt, but it was also the feeling the ancient god leather armor had as well. This was a mutual feeling. The ancient god leather armor didn't need to be summoned by Wang Lin, it flew toward Wang Lin and entered his chest. Wang Lin didn't reject it, and he felt a familiar feeling when the leather armor entered his body. The ancient god leather armor completely entered Wang Lin's body. Then the leather armor wrapped itself around his origin soul. Wang Lin's eyes shined brightly as he took a deep breath and pointed between his eyebrows. There was a flash of light and his origin soul flew out. The ancient god leather armor was almost impossible to see in his ancient dragon form, but Wang Lin could clearly feel that his origin soul's defense had reached a terrifying degree. It is a pity I can't test exactly how much it can withstand, but it can't be weak. Wang Lin's origin soul returned to his body. After refining the leather armor, Wang Lin didn't stop. He opened his mouth and spat out a ray of golden light. The light flashed in the air and turned into a golden lock. This lock was completely gold and it shined brightly. Wang Lin remembered that he took this from one of the messengers of the Thunder Celestial Temple when he charged into the transfer array. That messenger's origin soul was still inside the soul flag. He once said he was going to give up a precious treasure in exchange for his life. While looking at the golden lock, Wang Lin's divine sense surrounded it. After all the time he had spent refining it, Wang Lin easily removed the imprint left by the previous owner. This golden lock immediately became dim as it fell from the sky and was caught by Wang Lin. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he stared at the golden lock in his hand as he muttered, "This item is not bad, but compared to the Withered Dao pair it is still lacking too much. However, a spell that can seal a person's spell is very interesting." Origin energy filled Wang Lin's right hand and he mercilessly crushed the golden lock. When the golden lock collapsed, the golden light immediately dissipated. The countless fragments scattered on the ground and only a drop of golden liquid remained in Wang Lin's hand. Under Wang Lin's control, the way he crushed it was very ingenious. He destroyed the treasure without damaging the golden liquid inside it at all. If the previous owner had seen this, he would have sucked in a breath of cold air and his heart would have ached. Although that messenger hadn't placed a lot of importance on this treasure, it was something he used often. If it was him, he wouldn't have been willing to crush it. Although that messenger knew that there was something inside that treasure that gave it its abilities, he didn't have the courage to break the treasure to obtain it. In truth, not only him, but if any illusory yin or corporeal yang cultivator saw what Wang Lin had done, their hearts would have ached. After all, if they destroyed their treasure and what they obtained was worthless or was worth less than the origin treasure, then their action would be considered foolish. If a first-step cultivator saw Wang Lin, they wouldn't feel their heart ache. Instead, they would feel shock, a great amount of shock. It has to be said that if this kind of treasure had appeared on planet Suzaku 800 years ago, it would have set off a storm. Even Zhu Qzi would have participated. Unconsciously, after 1,000 years of cultivation, Wang Lin had reached such a state. He was willing to crush a treasure like this just to see the spell sealed inside. After 1,000 years of cultivation, not only had his cultivation grown, but also his horizons. There weren't many treasures that could catch his eye. Even if there were any weak treasures in his bag, he only kept them due to special affection or because they had accompanied him through his 1,000 years of cultivation. No matter how weak a treasure was, it must at least be a celestial treasure to catch the fancy of a messenger of the Thunder Celestial Temple, and yet Wang Lin had casually crushed it. Even if it was destroyed, his heart wouldn't have ached for it. While staring at the golden liquid between his fingers, Wang Lin's eyes shined brightly. A crack suddenly opened between his eyebrows and the third eye appeared. Red light quickly fanned out and surrounded the golden liquid. Under the third eye's gaze, the golden liquid slowly dissipated and began returning to its source, but its speed was not fast. After a moment, Wang Lin's third eye dimmed, but only half of the golden liquid had dissipated. It is strange for this to last this long under the third eye. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and the origin energy inside his body rapidly surged into the third eye regardless of the strenuous consumption. The red light from the third eye immediately intensified. The golden liquid started dissipating faster. A moment later, due to Wang Lin's spell, the golden liquid dissipated and turned into countless golden threads. The threads intersected with each other, forming a very complex, golden rune. This rune only lasted for 3 breaths of time before it completely collapsed, leaving nothing between Wang Lin's fingers. Rune, Wang Lin began to ponder as he slapped his bag of holding and the celestial brush appeared. His hand started moving and he began drawing. A moment later, a rune appeared before Wang Lin. This rune was exactly the same as the rune formed by the golden threads. Wang Lin's eyes lit up as he looked at the rune. There was no aura coming from the rune and there was nothing special about it. Wang Lin frowned slightly, but then his expression changed as he stared at the rune. A moment later, he closed his eyes and then suddenly opened his eyes with a hint of shock. My divine sense can't detect it. Wang Lin's eyes revealed a decisive gaze as he raised his left hand and pointed at the rune. The rune flew into the air under Wang Lin's control and flew toward the mosquito circling in the sky. The mosquito was happily flying when all of its hair stood up and it was about to dodge. However, under the soothing of Wang Lin's divine sense, it hesitated and didn't move as it stared at the rune that was quickly approaching. The rune flashed and imprinted on the mosquito beast. It immediately shattered into golden liquid and instantly surrounded the mosquito beast. The mosquito struggled and only broke free after a few moments. Then it flew far away as it looked at Wang Lin as if it has been wronged and let out a cry. Wang Lin's eyes lit up. When he used the celestial brush, he had only used 10% of his origin energy, and yet the rune was still so powerful. When he uses all his power to create the rune, its power will definitely increase. Wang Lin put away the celestial brush. After pondering for a bit, he figured out the truth. The true ability of the treasure is this rune. When it was inside the treasure, its full power couldn't be displayed, but with the brush, I can release its true power. If it was someone else, unless they had a powerful spell like the third eye to see the origin, then even if they extracted the golden liquid, they wouldn't be able to do anything. This is the first time I obtained something from a magic treasure like this. Since it functions like a seal, I'll call it the seal rune. Wang Lin raised his right hand to draw it a few more times and engraved it in his heart before putting his hand down. Then he suddenly had a thought. Since this seal rune was extracted from a treasure, then I should also be able to place it into a treasure to increase its power. Wang Lin's eyes revealed a mysterious light and his heart skipped a beat. Most of my treasures were obtained from outside sources and I rarely refine my own. Wang Lin opened his mouth and spat out a grain of sand. The grain immediately became a large fragment stamp. While staring at the fragment stamp, the mysterious light in Wang Lin's eyes became even stronger. This was originally a celestial realm fragment, and it was refined by divine retribution. It wasn't damaged at all when it was attacked by celestial Lord Qing Shui, so its sturdiness is at its peak. However, this treasure isn't complete, as when it attacks, it simply uses the celestial spiritual energy it possesses to imprison someone. In truth, it's not very strong, it can't compare to the lethal force the Wither Dao pair possesses and definitely can't compare to the third god-slaying war chariot. Wang Lin took out the celestial brush once more and began to draw. After a moment, a seal rune appeared. Now I'll give it a spell. A sealing spell. Wang Lin's right hand suddenly moved and then the rune that appeared flew onto the fragment and fused with it. Wang Lin didn't stop. He flew into the air and continued to draw. One by one, seal runes appeared and landed on the fragment. Wang Lin gradually became faster and faster. His body left after images as he circled the fragment. In the end, he was like a bolt of thunder creating rumbles that echoed across the plain. As Wang Lin became more proficient in creating the seal rune, it went from 1 rune per stroke to more than a dozen rune per stroke, and they all landed on the fragment. Wang Lin didn't feel tired at all during this process and he didn't pause the slightest. The fragment was the only thing that mattered to him while he continued to draw seal runes that fused with the fragment. Wang Lin had placed an unknown amount of seal runes on the fragment when it gave off a pale, golden glow. However, Wang Lin didn't stop. He continued to place seal runes on the fragment one by one. 3 days later, Wang Lin landed on the ground and immediately began to cultivate. His face was slightly pale. During these 3 days of time, he had continuously used origin energy. Even with his cultivation, he had reached his limit. The 1,000-foot fragment had shrunk to about 800 feet. It still gave off a light, golden glow, but it was now a bit darker. After resting for several hours, Wang Lin opened his eyes. His body moved and he began drawing more runes. As time passed, Wang Lin had rested 7 times. The 1,000-foot fragment shrank to 500 feet, 400 feet, 300 feet, until it was only 100 feet wide. The golden light it gave off became even darker. From a distance, it was like a golden sun that gave off a dazzling glow. When he looked at the treasure, Wang Lin's fatigue disappeared instantly. He took a deep breath and his eyes were filled with excitement. After resting a little, he flew out once more, and this time he refined for 5 days. 5 days later, Wang Lin landed on the ground. His face was completely pale and his steps were unstable. However, the excitement in his eyes had reached a peak. From today onward, this is a treasure refined by me. I'll name it Celestial Sealing Stamp. Wang Lin's voice echoed across the sky. Before him was a 3-inch stamp that emitted dazzling light. If a mortal saw this, the golden light would penetrate their eyes and destroy their mind. Even a low-level cultivator would feel his mind tremble and pain would fill his body as if he was being stabbed by countless swords. Even a cultivator with advanced cultivation would feel like their origin soul was being sealed when they saw it. The 3-inch stamp shined brightly and was filled with celestial spiritual energy. There was also a very powerful sealing aura surrounding it. This stamp was created after Wang Lin spent a month refining it. Wang Lin had roughly calculated that there were no less than 600,000 seal runes in it. More than 600,000 seal runes were fused into the 1,000-foot fragment, and he had condensed it into a 3-inch stamp. Wang Lin was very confident about the power inside this stamp. As he looked at the celestial sealing stamp, his eyes lit up and his hand began to move, placing restrictions on the stamp. The celestial spiritual energy from the stamp was gradually covered up and even most of the seal aura was hidden. A moment later, its power was completely hidden. The treasure that would shock the cultivation world, the celestial sealing stamp, was born. This appearance fits the ideal image of a treasure that I had in my heart. Wang Lin looked at the stamp that looked no different from an ordinary treasure and his eyes lit up. He opened his mouth and the celestial sealing stamp flew into his mouth and was refined by the thunder inside his origin soul. After a long time, this treasure will definitely contain some thunder from my origin soul. After swallowing the stamp, Wang Lin's eyes lit up, then he slapped his bag of holding and 3 purple flags flew out. The purple flags wrapped around each other and released flashes of restrictions. A while back, a messenger of the Thunder Celestial Temple was sealed by Wang Lin along with these 3 flags. Wang Lin's hand formed a seal and with a point of his finger, the restriction on the 3 flags dissipated. The moment it disappeared, the sealed origin soul of the messenger flew out. His eyes were filled with terror and he attempted to teleport away the moment he broke free. Wang Lin's eyes became cold and he slapped his bag of holding. The 1 billion soul flag flew out and turned into a large, black cloud that devoured the origin soul of the messenger of the Thunder Celestial Temple. Don't kill me, fellow cultivator. I'll trade a valuable treasure for my life, a valuable treasure. The messenger began to struggle inside the black cloud and begged for mercy. Wang Lin's eyes were cold as he slowly said, "What valuable treasure?" The messenger immediately shouted, "An all-heaven stone. I know where fellow cultivator can obtain an all-heaven stone. If you promise to let me go, I'll immediately lead you there." Wang Lin's face showed no expression and his right hand formed a seal. The black cloud immediately devoured the origin soul and sealed it inside the flag. All-heaven stone, Wang Lin pondered for a bit and then no longer thought about. Then his eyes fell on the 3 flags in the air and reached out. When the flags fell into his hand, he spat out essence origin energy to refine them. After wiping the divine sense from them and imprinting his own, Wang Lin put them away and began to ponder. This is a rare protective treasure. After the time it takes for half of an incense stick of time to burn, Wang Lin's eyes lit up. He threw the 3 flags into the air and they began to rapidly rotate around his body. A purple vortex formed, and it contained a certain degree of protection. The origin energy inside Wang Lin's body surged out into the purple vortex and a drastic change occurred. The purple vortex sped up several fold and more purple mist appeared. Soon, Wang Lin's entire body was completely hidden inside the purple mist. After 3 breaths of time, the mist dissipated. Wang Lin waved his right hand and the 3 flags were placed back into his bag. This treasure's power is not bad. Wang Lin touched his bag of holding and 2 yellow talismans appeared in his hand. Even now, Wang Lin still wasn't able to see through these 2 talismans. After carefully looking at them, Wang Lin put them away. After taking a deep breath, Wang Lin's eyes shined brightly. His expression became serious and he spread out his divine sense. After determining there was nothing abnormal within 5 kilometers, he touched his bag of holding. There was a flash of golden light, celestial spiritual energy filled the air, and a palm-sized pavilion appeared in Wang Lin's palm. Even at this moment, Wang Lin's heart still began beating faster and there was excitement in his eyes when his gaze fell on the pavilion. If I were asked what was the biggest harvest I had in the Thunder Celestial Realm, it would be this. The collection pavilion? Wang Lin licked his lips. He had been afraid to take this out after obtaining it, because it was simply too precious. How many celestial spells are inside? Wang Lin's eyes were filled with excitement, but it was forcibly suppressed by him a moment later. With my current cultivation level, I can only enter the 4th floor. Even if I were to use the woman in white to enter the 9th floor, I can't break the restriction inside to obtain the celestial spells. Moreover, this object is too precious and it might have some restrictions on the amount of times I can enter. This place isn't absolutely safe, so I can't carelessly study it here. Wang Lin suppressed the desire in his heart before taking a deep breath and placing it in his bag. However, after hesitating for a moment, he took it out again. He used the seal he learned from back then to make the pavilion shrink until it was only the size of a fingernail. Then he took out a spare bag and placed the pavilion inside. Then he opened his shirt, cut open his chest, and placed bag into his body. The wound quickly healed under his origin energy. This way, no one will know where the collection pavilion is. Wang Lin touched his chest and revealed a smile. There were still several bags of holding on his body that were filled with celestial jades. The amount of celestial jades was simply too large, and all of them were obtained in the Thunder Celestial Realm. After nearly 2 months of time, Wang Lin organized his harvest from this trip to the Thunder Celestial Realm. It is time to leave. Wang Lin stood up and flew into the air. The mosquito beast let out a cheerful cry as it carried Wang Lin toward the buildings. The thunder toad on the ground rolled its eyes and jumped very far with a bang. It followed the mosquito beast on the ground. When they closed in on the living area of the chosen immortal clan, Wang Lin's eyes narrowed. He saw them all gathered at the large square, including the woman and children. At the center of the square was a 30-foot wide wooden platform. There was a person lying on it, and it was Tarshan. Tarshan's expression was deathly gray and his eyes were dim as if he could die at any time. Death aura had surrounded his body. It was obvious he was near the moment of his death. Upon seeing this, Wang Lin silently pondered. 2 months ago, Wang Lin had already seen that Tarshan was like a lamp without fuel. The slave imprint inside Tarshan was very strong. It was imprinted into his bloodline and it wouldn't allow him to resist. Tarshan could be said to be the first person to resist, but the consequence was that all the tattoos on his body had backlashed at him. It was impossible to continue living like this. He had lasted for 2 months, but today he had reached his end and couldn't survive any longer. Beside Tarshan, the ancestor of the chosen immortal clan was filled with grief. 2 streams of tears flowed down his cheek. The old man softly said, "Grandson," he hadn't called Tarshan this in a long time. The surroundings were completely silent, but there was a powerful sense of sadness that surrounded the area. The people all silently looked at Tarshan and revealed sadness on their faces. "Tarshan! Tarshan!" Whispers gradually came from the chosen immortal clan members. This voice fused together and represented the voice of the entire chosen immortal clan. Tarshan! In their hearts, Tarshan was the hero of the chosen immortal clan. When no one could fight against the slave imprint, only Tarshan never yielded. He showed them all that the slave imprint was not impossible to resist. Although, the price of resisting was his life. Tarshan's consciousness was in a trance. His eyes dimmed as he looked at the sky. He vaguely felt like he had returned to his childhood as he listened to the clan members talk. Celestials are the lords of my clan. Everyone in our clan must dedicate themselves to serving the Celestials. This is our mission and our pride. We are the messengers of the Celestials in this world. This is our glory. Tears came from Tarshan's eyes. He hated that this world was unfair. He hated all Celestials. Wang Lin's body descended from the air and landed at the edge of the square. He silently pondered. The old man looked at Tarshan and mercilessly clenched his teeth. He then suddenly turned around. He looked at the surrounding people and loudly said, "Tarshan is right. For generations we've guarded this place, and what did we get? It was the fog beasts that killed countless members of our clan. And all of this was caused by Celestials. In the eyes of the Celestials, we are only food for the fog beasts." The surroundings were completely quiet and the people silently looked at the old man. There was a force brewing and accumulating in their bodies. Tarshan once told me that Celestials no longer exist. The celestial realm has long collapsed. I have been hiding this matter since he told me, but today I'm telling you all. The old man's eyes were strange. It was a gaze that had almost gone insane. After he said those words, all of the surrounding clan members went into an uproar. This news shocked them greatly and the power brewing in their bodies rapidly increased. "Benefactor, am I correct?" The old man's eyes fell on Wang Lin, who was at the edge of the square. At this moment, everyone looked at Wang Lin, waiting for his answer. Ever since Wang Lin killed that celestial 2 months ago, the old man began calling him Benefactor. Wang Lin silently pondered. A moment later, he nodded and said, "The celestial realm has already collapsed and Celestials no longer exist. If there are any left, they are extremely rare." The old man became excited and shouted, "The celestial realm has collapsed and the Celestials still treat my clan like this. Why should we not revolt? Even if we die, we should die with dignity like Tarshan." His voice was ancient, but it also contained a power that would impact the soul. It pierced through the members of the clan and their eyes all revealed a gaze. It was a gaze of resisting until the end. One that said they'd rather die than be slaves any longer and become food for the fog beasts. "Revolt," one of the clan members clenched his fist and whispered. After him, even more voices could be heard. "Revolt! Revolt!" One voice after another appeared until it almost formed a storm. As Wang Lin pondered, he looked at Tarshan. After a long time, he whispered, "I can make it so he won't die." Although his voice was soft, when it landed in the ears of the surrounding chosen immortal clan members, especially the old man, their bodies trembled. The old man's eyes filled up with excitement and he walked toward Wang Lin. He knelt down 10 feet before Wang Lin. Tears flowed down his cheeks as he said, "Benefactor, is this true?" Wang Lin pondered a bit and slowly said, "I'm 50% confident. However, if my spell succeeds, then although Tarshan won't die, he will become a puppet without consciousness. Whether he can regain his consciousness will depend on himself." This video will end here.